Welcome to TMS Smart Setup. The following video will be an introduction to a new product from TMS called TMS Smart Setup. It's not so much a product in the portfolio of TMS, it's more of a tool, a utility that allows you to install products from TMS much easier and much more efficient. With TMS Smart Setup, you can install a TMS product with its dependencies. The whole process is silent. The products will be activated, the demos and the source code will be included. And the best of all, this will be done for all the platforms that you have installed for all Delphi versions. Let's assume you have a machine with Delphi 10, 11, and 12. And usually that's really cumbersome to install all the different TMS products. Best of all, the process is fully customizable. But TMS Smart Setup can even do more. You can also automatically update all or a single product, and you can also uninstall multiple or single products. So this tool will make it possible for you to never having to open up an installer again, click on next, and finish, and set all the parameters over and over again. With TMS Smart Setup, all of this is in the past. Before TMS Smart Setup, you could use the TMS Subscription Manager. All products were grouped by platform, and then you could check individual products and install them. Still, the installation process itself involved you starting the installer and clicking next a couple of times, making customizations, and then also selecting for which platforms and which Delphi versions you want the installation to take place. All in all, it took you a while, for example, if you wanted to install TMS Xdata. TMS Xdata depends on TMS Sparkle. TMS Sparkle depends on TMS Business Core Library, and Xdata also depends on TMS Aurelius. So in order to install TMS Xdata, you had to know to install the TMS Business Core Library first, then install TMS Aurelius, then install TMS Sparkle, and then TMS Xdata. That took quite a while, and to keep them updated took even longer. And now imagine you wanted to install them for all the different Delphi versions you had on a machine. It was quite a little bit of work to keep everything up to date. And worst of all, let's say you had a machine that only had the Windows compilers installed, and then at some point you want to do mobile development on the iOS platform, for example. You install the iOS platform and add it to Delphi, but the TMS products, of course, don't have that installed. So what you had to do is you had to get the proper solution, you most likely would have to rerun the installation process for all of them. TMS Smart Setup gets rid of all of that. TMS Smart Setup is available for download right now, and the link is visible right here, but it's also given in the comment to this video. You can pick if you want to use a Windows installer or if you just want to use a zip file. There is no advantage using the Windows installer because, to be honest, it is best to install TMS Smart Setup in its own directory. I, for example, pick C install all the time. That's my TMS Smart Setup directory. And in the zip file or in the Windows installer, you'll find two files, tms.exe and tms.gui.exe. TMS GUI is just a user interface for the TMS Smart Setup command line interface, which is what I will focus on today. The command line is what we will use with TMS Smart Setup for the beginning. I have installed it in C install, and if I look at the directory, I have TMS exe. That's the main point. You don't have to add it to the path or anything crazy like that. Just install it in the directory, and that's it. If you execute it with TMS, you get a little bit overwhelmed by all the different command switches that are available. You won't need all in the beginning. Here in this introduction, we're just going to focus on installing certain products, uninstalling certain products, and then modifying the configuration file so that you can specify what is supposed to be installed automatically, meaning platforms and Delphi versions, for example. The machine that I use has Delphi 11 and Delphi 12 installed. That means everything I execute here with TMS Smart Setup will be done for Delphi 11 and Delphi 12 because I didn't make any changes to the default configuration. Default configuration is something that is very important, and you might not know that that is there, and it won't be there right away. So this tms.config.yaml file won't be there right from the beginning. That is something that gets created when you execute TMS Smart Setup for the first time. The first thing you need to do is you have to connect TMS Smart Setup with the credentials of your all access, or to be more general, with your TMS user account. So what you have to do, you have to call TMS and then credentials. And if you have used TMS Smart Setup before, it will give you the email address that is stored. So I just have to press enter. And then here, this is the registration code that is stored inside of my configuration. I don't want to change it, but for example, after a year, if you renew your all access license, you would have to enter a new registration code. I can just press enter. That is the first step you have to take. There is no way around this, because otherwise you won't be able to install any products, because the products will be activated right after installation or during installation. What is actually available? What can we install? So we can say TMS list remote. That will list all the products that are available on TMS's server. If we call this, it will take a while, and we will then get a response with all the available products. Of course, this is customized to your purchases. If you don't have access to a certain group of products, they won't be listed. Only licensed products will be listed. As you can see, TMS has been very, very kind to me, and they have given me access to all these products. And now we can go ahead, for example, to install the VCL UI pack. How does it work? So we type TMS, install, and then which product do we want to install? For example, in this case, tms.vcl.uipack. As you can see right here, this is the identifier for the product. And also in parentheses, you see the version that it will be installed. 13.1 is the current version. And with this, I can press enter. TMS Smart Setup will now download the products from the internet and will then use the maximum power of the machine that you have available. In this case, it will use a maximum of 20 threads, and it will use all the power that my machine has to offer because I didn't limit it in the configuration file. By default, the full power of your computer will be used. We will see right from the start that we will build for Delphi 12 and for Delphi 11 because both of those are installed. And also we will build release configs and debug configs. So both of those are covered as well. I only made one tiny little change here in the configuration file already. I only compile the Windows 64-bit version and Windows 32-bit version. I don't compile for Linux or for any of the other platforms, just to make this a little bit faster. Also, the logs and what you see on screen will be much, much more readable because I limit the platforms this way. But by default, all the platforms that you have installed on your system will be compiled and the products will be available for those platforms. At the end, you'll get a report with a build summary. The TMS VCL UI pack version 13.1 has been installed and okay. This doesn't seem so great so far, but what I've not mentioned yet is that TMS Smart Setup can also update your products without you having to reinstall them. In a day or in 2 days or in a week, you can simply type TMS update and it will update all the products that you have installed. And the best thing is it will also take care of dependencies. That's not a case with the TMS VCL UI pack yet, but let's just run TMS update. And right now, of course, we shouldn't have any updates. That is something that should be already done. If for whatever reason you want to force a rebuild, you can call TMS build full. I won't do it right now, but that is something you could do if you wanted to rebuild everything from scratch. But here, no updates obviously have been deployed in the last 5 minutes, so everything is good. And TMS Smart Setup, as the name says, is smart and won't recompile everything. So you're good to go. So TMS Update is actually something that you could incorporate into your daily startup script or something like that. If you boot up your computer every day before work, everything from TMS will be updated that way. Let's look at a little bit more complex products. For example, the TMS Xdata product, which has dependencies. So if we say TMS list remote, we see that we could install TMS Xdata. But Xdata is part of the business product line, so it is called TMS Biz Xdata. So I say TMS install TMS Biz Xdata. And now we already see that TMS Smart Setup determined we need, in addition to Xdata, Aurelius, Sparkle, and the Business Core library. And right away, it starts compiling the products. It starts with the Business Core library because the Business Core library is the foundation for all of the other applications. So this is what really makes this product so useful. It really knows what is relevant for your particular product that you want to install, and it installs all the dependencies. This is just amazing. Look how fast this is. Like in less than a minute, I installed TMS Xdata with all dependencies. So if I now say TMS list, I see all the products that are installed on my system and installed vCell UiPack, TMS Xdata with the dependencies Sparkle, BCL, and Aurelius. So let's start Delphi and see if our installations worked. I'm going to start Delphi 12. And after the first plugin, the components should come pretty quickly. There we go, TMS Web Core. And there we go. We have vCell UiPack, Sparkle, Aurelius, and Xdata. Now, file new, vCL application. And we should have Sparkle, right? Sparkle. The HTTP sys dispatcher is here. These are definitely Sparkle components. And if we go to Xdata, here we have the Xdata components. And if we go to Aurelius, we have the Aurelius components. This is proof that I really just installed them, because otherwise the IDE would have had the icons showing. But because I reinstalled everything, the IDE had to catch up and collect the icons first. Now if I go to Sparkle, you see that all these icons are also there. So all the products have actually been installed. The same for grid. If we go down here, the advanced string grid is part of the vCell UiPack. That is how easy you can install your TMS products now. And it's not only for one particular Delphi version, it will work for all Delphi versions. But what if you don't want all platforms like me, or all Delphi versions? For example, if you don't want to install anything on Delphi 11 because you still have it on the system, but the compile time is extended, of course, if you install for multiple Delphi versions, especially if you have more than two. So how can you configure that? Very easy. You open up your TMS Smart Setup folder and go into the TMS config YAML file. I suggest you use something like Notepad+. So we drag it in here. And this file covers everything. You can determine how many build cores you want to use. We are going to focus on two particular areas. The area number one is the Delphi versions. You can pick which Delphi versions you want to install for, but make sure if by default these are all enabled. So even if I enable Delphi 7, I have to install Delphi 7 for this to be relevant. However, let's say I no longer want Delphi 11 to be part of the compilation, so I comment Delphi 11 out. And then also for the platforms right here, you can see that I uncommented the Windows 32, Windows 64, and these are all commented out, so these won't be compiled. By default, all of this will be compiled. And also, if you don't want debug DCUs, if you just want the release source code, you can also set this to false, then you won't get any debug DCUs. These are all, of course, very specific options that you might not want to fiddle around with in the beginning. So we close this, and that's all it takes to make changes to the basic configuration. So now that we have Xdata installed, Sparkle installed, VCL installed. How would we update them? Of course, we just call TMS update. And if you want, you can specify one specific product. You don't have to update them all. You can just check, hey, I want to check if your TMS VCL UiPack has an update. But in general, just type TMS update and you get all the updates. But you see, everything is up to date. But what happens now is that everything gets unregistered from Delphi 11 that was registered before. So with the update, we also get the selected platforms and the selected Delphi versions in sync. You see, it was uninstalled from Delphi 11 now because we commented out Delphi 11. One final thing, if you want to make sure that your version of TMS Smart Setup is updated, you should call TMS Self Update first in your batch file to make sure that you're using the latest version of TMS Smart Setup. And with that, the only thing left to do is to show you how to uninstall a certain product. Of course, uninstall also pays attention to dependencies. So if I were to uninstall a certain product, TMS Smart Setup will take care that you don't uninstall TMS Sparkle, for example, if you still have TMS Xdata installed. In this case, I decided to uninstall all the business products. So I can also say TMS uninstall and then TMS biz.star. That will uninstall all business products. It also works for vcl.star, monkey.star. So this way you can really quickly install everything you purchased from TMS. For example, if you want to install all the VCL products that you purchased from TMS, just be careful because your IDE is going to be full of wonderful controls. You can say TMS install tms.vcl.star, or you can say tms business.star, or all the FNC controls, tms fnc.star. That will install everything that is available for the FNC framework. Let's just remove or uninstall TMS VCL UiPack. So that will uninstall everything from the VCL UiPack, and will also unregister everything in the IDE. So if your IDE starts up now, it will no longer be there. And finally, installing a whole framework with using an asterisk. You can do, for example, TMS install TMS fnc.star. This will install all the FNC products that are available. And just like with the business product line, it will make sure that the base libraries are being installed and registered in the IDE first, and then the dependent products will be installed. So here we'll start with the FNC core library, because that is the base for everything with FNC, and then we'll keep going to install one product after another. Obviously, I fast forwarded the video a little bit. Now we're at 98%, and we started the process at 6:33, and now it's 6:37. So in less than 5 minutes, I installed the whole FNC product line without doing anything, but just calling that I want to install everything. And tomorrow or any day of the week, once in a while, I call TMS update to update all the products to make sure that I'm using the latest version. That's it. That's why TMS Smart Setup is so great. If you use it once, you'll never stop using it. I know that some Delphi developers are still shy using the command line, but I'm sure that TMS has something in store for that in the future. TMS Smart Setup is just the base for a great setup experience in the future for all your TMS products. Thanks so much for listening, and stay safe. See you soon.